Hey, this is Odette Coronel with Odette Coronel Coaching. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and we're going to dig into the R word, that word of relationship, with a fantastic relationship coach, Odette Coronel. Odette is chock full of knowledge nuggets to not only help you level up your relationship, but for a relationship to work the right way and to grow stronger, you have to really take care of yourself. She really digs deep on the individual as well. So I'm not going to carry on about this because our discussion was fantastic. I have a fantastic relationship, Odette, through a friendship, and I'm just so blessed to be connected to her. So without further ado, here is my really good friend, rock star relationship coach, Odette Coronel. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have my awesome sauce lady, Odette Coronel, from the Eastern Seaboard up there, where I absolutely love visiting. I'll actually be up there tonight in the great city of Boston. But my friend Odette is, towards the Jersey side, and I absolutely love New Jersey, visiting the Jersey Shore. We just were kind of talking off of mic and off of camera. But Odette is a certified life and relationship coach who helps successful, high-achieving women and some men and couples learn to become more successful in their relationships. Her clients learn to deepen connection, improve communication, and have more intimacy with their partner by reigniting the spark with themselves. They also learn to identify and stop self-sabotaging behaviors. And Odette, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, wow. My favorite color is purple. I've always loved purple. I just think
You're wearing it.
Yeah, that's true. I had my bedroom was purple when I was growing up. I just think it's a rich, beautiful color, but it's also kind of feminine, and it just makes me feel good.
I think being girls that I know, because this is I-95 Seaboard, and a lot of Jersey comes down to Palm Beach, right? And so you have a lot of the red and the blue. So you have the fiery side and the chill side, right? And it makes purple, and it's freaking regal, right? It's royal.
Yeah,
So it fits you perfectly.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite color too. So we're on the same page there. But no, can you give us a little bit of your roots and kind of where you started and how you're leveling up and helping these women and some men and couples?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm a life and relationship coach. I actually started off as a health coach a few years back, and I really loved the life coaching aspect of it. And I kept attracting clients that had issues in terms of their relationships. And eventually I just became a relationship coach. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. I feel that life is all about relationships in general, and our ability to relate to one another really determines, impacts all areas of life.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I think that your marriage or your relationship with your life partner in general, it really impacts your
Yeah.
life, how you parent, your finances, your career. It really impacts everything. So I just think that it's so important to try to have the best relationship possible with that person in particular. So that's how I, became a relationship coach. And I've also been married for 23 years. I have 3 children. They're all young adults now. And I homeschooled them for a lot of their education.
Mm-hmm.
So I also had, my husband and I had a business that we started in our early 20s. So I do know what it's like to have a lot of challenges in life.
Right.
And a lot of different things that you're managing and all the ups and downs that come along with it and how that impacts relationship. But I believe that all of those things can kind of bring you closer together. They don't have to break you apart. They can actually be a catalyst for more connection and intimacy.
So you're saying like maybe in the journey, maybe we'll call them problems or obstacles, they can be a catalyst for like maybe a closer relationship.
Yeah, I think that what a lot of times we hear, marriage is so difficult, relationships are difficult. And I'm not saying that they're easy, but I think that life in general is challenging. We're constantly being tested.
Yes.
And sometimes what doesn't break you makes you.
Yes.
So if you can really lean on each other, if you can really become allies in facing your challenges, if you can
Ooh,
become partners, that's going to strengthen your bond and your connection.
I love that. Like allies against the obstacles, if you will. That's
Exactly,
fantastic.
exactly. It's
That's
not you against me, it's
right.
us against
Yeah, I
all the
love
world.
that. I love it. So let me ask you something, Odette. What do you think then makes a great coach?
I think what makes a great coach is first and foremost your ability to create that safe space for
Ooh,
your client. The ability to make the client feel that they can trust you and that this is a space where there's no judgment, I'm unbiased. That's the first thing. And then to be able to be really present and curious
yes.
with your
Yeah.
client. That's what it's all about. It's as a coach, you're not giving your client the answers, you're not telling them what to do.
Thank
You're
you.
serving as a thinking partner for
Yes.
with your client.
Right.
You're kind of like a mirror for your client
Right.
and helping them figure things out for themselves because they're the expert in their own lives, really.
Dude, I love that you said that about coaching because my next question was kind of lead. Are you a coach or a consultant or a coach consultant? And I'm a coach and I'm blessed to work with, some celebrities and Major League Baseball players, blah, blah, blah. But it's funny that they're like, aren't you going to tell me what I should do? I'm like, no, man, I'm a coach. The problem or your obstacle is sitting inside you, but you also have the answer. And we just help them as coaches get that out. It's like Tom Brady, quarterback. It's like Belichick back in the day wasn't out on the field with him. He was, giving him a game plan through questions they would have in the film room, like people are like, oh shit, that's exactly how it works. I love that. So within your protocol, we'll call it protocol, but like when you're starting to bring someone in, if you don't mind sharing, Odette, is there any like during the initial discovery conversation, is there any secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, that maybe helps them find their blind spot, their initial blind spot?
Well, when I work with clients and whether even when I do couples,
Mhm.
we really start with the relationship with yourself. Because a lot of times people, we can easily see what's wrong with our partner, what they're doing wrong, the things we want them to change, but we have to start by taking responsibility for our role in whatever is happening. And we
Mm,
also have to acknowledge and get in touch with our own self-worth, self-love, self-acceptance. Like we have to believe that we're worthy of love
mhm.
and love ourselves and strengthen that relationship with ourselves because a lot of times our partner is trying to love us in their way or is
Right.
giving us that love and we don't see it and it's
Right.
because we can't recognize it.
Love it.
We don't
Yeah.
love ourselves. So I think that that's really, really a foundation of any
Yes.
relationship is strengthening that relationship with yourself.
Self. Yeah.
So
It's cliche, but they say, but it's the best thing is like you can't really love somebody unless you're taking care of yourself and loving yourself. The whole on the airplane, putting your mask on first before you help someone else. So
absolutely.
with that being said, then I asked some of my interviewees this, but you mentioned responsibility. What is Odette's definition of responsibility?
Responsibility is, I think that in any situation, in any relationship, even the relationship right now between the two of us in this
Yes, ma'am.
interview, right? What energy am I bringing to this interview?
Love it.
What is my vibe, right?
Right.
What's my mood? That's the number one thing that you have to take responsibility for
Love
because
it.
the energy that you're bringing to that relationship is your responsibility.
Love it. I
And
love it.
I think it's is it I forgot his name. I can't think of his name right now, but he talks about being a thermostat, not a thermometer.
Right. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
whatever you want in your relationship, bring it.
Yeah.
You want more
Yeah.
fun, you want more love, you want more passion,
Yes.
bring it.
Yeah. I love that you'll get what you give in a sense. And it's like there's an analogy, a friend of mine that I'm actually interviewing, Damon West. He wrote the book, The Coffee Bean.
Okay.
And he makes an analogy in the book where you put a carrot in boiling water. What does it do? It gets soft, right? You put it gets cooked, but it's soft. You put an egg into boiling water, it cooks, it gets hard on the outside, but it's still soft on the inside. You put a coffee bean in boiling water, it changes the environment. I love
Mm,
his analogy. So if you're taking responsibility, like you said,
right.
you put that good energy out, you're going to get. I love that. My definition of responsibility is passed on from my mentor was the ability to respond. It's rooted right in the word
Yeah.
itself. And just like you had said, you can respond to any situation by changing your vibe towards it and bringing, you are freaking awesome. This is
Yeah.
amazing. So, well, maybe you're in the discovery period a little bit more with whether it's a one-on-one or couples. Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That my clients would ask me, or just in general that
Yeah,
that I
that
get
you're starting to work with them. Is there any good question that you wish that they would ask you but never do?
I think that the one thing that I don't know if it's a question, but one thing that I wish that they would ask is, how can I like myself more?
Ooh,
A lot of times I get asked, how can why don't they love me? Why don't they like me? Why don't they accept me? And I think the real question is,
that is strong.
how can I
So
like
good.
myself more? How can I
Get it.
love myself more? I think that that matters so much more
Yeah.
than what other people think about us.
Love it. And I know this is a broad question, but what do you think is the main catalyst in this day and age for disconnect in relationships between whether it's husband, wife, whatever? What do you think is the biggest disconnect these days?
I think the biggest disconnect is just a lack of appreciation for each
Mm.
other.
Wow.
It's focusing on we form a habit, we form patterns of behavior. And initially, when we're dating, we tend to like ignore all the negatives, and we're just like, any little
Yes.
thing is amazing and is wonderful. But as
Yeah.
time goes on, we tend to ignore the positive traits that they have and just focus on any little flaws that they may have or
Yes.
anything that they do wrong. It's
So
just focused on the negative.
right.
And about creating a habit of really appreciating each other, really noticing each other, thanking
Wow.
each other, showing us that love and appreciation, and building that up so much that when there is an issue, there is a challenge or a problem, we can stay focused on that issue. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the relationship.
I
We don't
love that.
mean that, oh, the marriage is in trouble because this happened. No, you're so secure in the marriage because you've shown each other so much love and
Right.
appreciation. You've built up that love bank that
Right.
we've heard people mention, right? And
Yeah.
that when something happens, you're able to deal with it and just focused on the issue. You don't make it mean that something's wrong with your partner or with the marriage.
I
Or
love that. I just noticed a lot with my clients as well, is that like there's trust and respect, right? Like let's say you and I go way back to grade school or whatnot, and I'm probably a lot older than you, but let's say we went back and we knew each other then. And uh you came over with your fiance, right? I would get off my couch, open the door, be like, "Oh, Dad, hey, how are you? And how's nice to meet you? And can I get you guys a beer?" Right? If you were to come over, and because I went way back with you, right? You would come over, you'd knock and be like, "It's open." You'd be like, "Ferg, got a beer?" And I'd be like, "It's in the fridge. You know where it is." You know what I'm
right.
saying? It's like trust
Mhm.
and respect.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of guys, like I, for Susan, I open her door every time. It's a thing, like no matter what, it's like a reminder of my mom's foot up my butt, so you know how
Mhm.
to treat women and stuff like that. But you lose the respect part because you
Right.
trust your partner, trusts you to do
Trust
anything,
you, right.
gives you a key to the house or
Yeah.
whatnot, but the respect goes away. What do you think that couples can do to help keep that respect towards each other?
Well, I just want to go back to what you said about trust, because you're right. Trust can be a double-edged sword, right? Because then you
Yeah.
get so comfortable with each other.
Uh-huh.
But really, safety and trust
Uh-huh.
is what, marriage is all about. Like, you have to have safety and trust in order to really, grow your friendship, remind each other that you like each other, um, um, appreciate each other. So trust and safety is the
Love
foundation.
it.
But remembering respect, it's not what you do now and then. people think, oh, I need to go on this romantic getaway,
Right.
or, you need to, my partner should buy me flowers, on
Hmm.
special occasions. And I'm not saying not to do those things. Those things
Right.
are really important. But I think that what matters the most is what you do on a daily basis, is the
Yes.
little small habits
I love it.
that you form, your little dynamic.
Right.
It's that little, morning hug or kiss. It's
Yeah.
that little, like, we're walking and you spontaneously hold hands.
Hmm.
That it's those little tiny moments
Mm.
of connection
Right.
that matter, and that kind of help remind each other, oh, we do love each other. We do like
Right.
each other, right? Forget about love. We do like
Right.
each other. There's a lot of people love each other, but they don't even
Sure.
like each other anymore. When
Right.
we still like each other and want to be together and maintain that connection going.
I love that you said that. Like Susan and I will have like these little notes. Like I leave because she gets up at like 2:40 in the morning because she's in the restaurant business and whatnot. We leave like little notes for each other every single day. And also another thing is like we always put XOXO at the end of our texts.
Yeah.
It's just something that
Yeah.
if it wasn't there, you just wouldn't feel. I know it's something so simple, but that stuff like that keeps you glued. I love that. I love
And
that.
also being aware and taking responsibility. Like if the partner's doing something that's bothering you, like, express yourself, like,
Mm,
don't be afraid to share you can't
right.
assume your partner's going to read your mind. You have to take responsibility for the things that you want or that you need, and
Yeah.
expressing it and communicating that.
Love it. So good. So good. Odette, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I sure have
Okay.
many times.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like our generation, we've saw it a lot. But let's get in that DeLorean with Marty. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Odette. I don't know if it's Cornell then, but let's go back to the Double Deuce.
Mhm.
What kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on her? Maybe not to change anything, because your life is blissful, it's good,
Mhm.
challenges, but that's fine. It's part of the journey. Not to change anything, but maybe to help her shorten a learning curve, blast through, or level up just a little bit quicker.
Hmm. I think I would tell my 22-year-old self two things. First of all, don't worry about what other people think about you, because what you think about yourself is what really matters, and that's what's going
Right.
to impact your happiness and your life. It's what you think about yourself. So people are busy, worried about what people are thinking about them. So don't even
Right.
think about that. And then the other thing would be, I know that since I was very young, I'm like looking for my purpose and all about, like, what am I meant to do and all of that. And as throughout the years, I've realized that your purpose is just to be happy, is
Yes.
to be the most authentic version of yourself. And that's how you're going
Yes.
to be happy.
Love that. I
All of
love
your
it.
gifts, your talents, your resources, to become the best version of you. And that's it. That's your purpose.
That's
You can do
it.
that regardless of your circumstance
Right.
with your purpose.
Yes. And it's funny. I make two New Year's resolutions every year, and one is to make someone smile every day, every single day. Make someone smile. See, I win my day there. And two, unless I've hurt you, disrespected you, or owe you, I give zero, what, so what you think about me. And it took me a while to get to that point, just because I grew up an athlete, and I was always getting judged on stuff, and I always did things like bodybuilding competitions or jujitsu, kind of, where I was always getting judged and measured, right? But if you give your all and you have, and you're treating people the correct way, it doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't. Love
Absolutely.
it. I love it. So how do you want Odette's dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. How does Odette want her dash remembered?
Hmm. I think I'd want to be remembered that by, as a wife, a mother, a coach, someone that was here to make the world a better place by being the most authentic version of myself, by
Oh,
using my gifts, my talents, whatever I have, to serve others and just make the world, impact the world in a positive way.
love it. Love it. That's enough said on that one. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, you're going to slide across home plate, bumped and bruised and whatnot a little bit, but you've given your all and you make the world a better place. That's fantastic. So, what do you think people might misunderstand the most about Odette?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. We could be here for a while with that.
That's why I
With
put the most.
that. I think that sometimes I am I'm not great or too I just think so deeply about certain things and like the importance or the impact of certain things
Yeah.
that I tend to like not be great with the small talk and
Oh,
those little things like that. Like, and it's not that I'm not interested in the weather or like what's happening with, I don't know, on reality TV or whatever. Like,
mhm,
okay, I'm really not interested in that. But I just think that like I sometimes too much try to focus on things that like really matter to me. And I
mhm.
forget that not everybody's like on thinking about those
I'm the
things
same
all
way.
the time,
Yeah,
but I just tend to like focus on those things sometimes too much. And I'm not
gotcha.
sure.
And I love it. Your brain is looking for solutions all the
Yeah,
time. It's just how, especially coaches, how
yeah,
we are, because we're working with people, and you're like, man, how could I have did that better? What can I ask them next time to
right.
level
Yeah,
them up? I
yes.
love it. I love that. So, what is Odette's definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived, I would say, is again, I'm going to go back to
Yeah,
just
please.
really getting in touch with who you are
Yeah.
by learning about what your likes are, learning about cultivating, right? Nurturing whatever little talents you have and
Hmm.
skills. And whenever you're in flow, like do lots of that.
I love
Be
it.
as much your true self as you can be.
What puts Odette in flow?
Coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. When
absolutely.
I am with my clients, I just feel really energized. I
Right.
feel like I'm in flow. I really enjoy it.
Right.
And yeah, that
I
just puts me
I
in flow.
get kept up at
Absolutely.
night if I'm not coaching. Meaning I have West Coast clients, but I got to coach them till like midnight on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, because of the time difference.
Yeah.
But I sleep like a baby after coaching
Yes.
conversations, right?
Yeah.
Where if I'm not, I almost am like, shit, man, I'm missing out on something in a
I know
sense.
exactly what you
I love it. Look,
mean.
so if you take out of this equation anything electronical like cell phones, computers, tablets, laptops, right? What are three things that Odette can't live without?
My family,
Beautiful.
my family, absolutely. Nature. I love being like near the ocean.
Nice.
I love that. And I would say faith.
Nice.
Like, I'm not very religious in
Hmm.
any sense, but I think
No.
I'm very spiritual, and I just know that there's so much out there that we don't know.
Right.
And it's almost like I have that trust and that faith in the
Mm,
universe. There's so much that we don't understand and that it's okay.
love it.
Yeah.
And it is okay because we're merely a blip. If you really look, I actually did some reading this morning on Seneca, the philosopher, and he was talking about how much of a blip we really are
Yeah.
in this world, and how we this little blip can make such a big difference within our little blippage. And I love it. I love it. So, time to shine today, podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and Odette, you and I will meet sometime and have a fun conversation. We'll probably talk 15-20 minutes on some of these questions, that I have laid out here, but you have 5 seconds with no explanations. You ready to level up?
I'm ready.
You can do it.
Bring it on.
Here we go. Odette, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
That's a good question. Oh gosh, the best leveling up advice I've ever received is that my thoughts create my feelings. So be aware of the thoughts that
Oh,
I'm thinking.
yes. Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Oh, personal habits, no matter what, every day, I write down 3 things that I love about myself, 3 things that I want, and 3 things that I'm grateful for.
I love it. It's like my gratitude sandwich a little bit,
Yeah.
where I put my intention for the day, my worries for the day, and 14 things I'm grateful for the day, and it squeezes those worries out. Absolutely love that. So you see me walking down the street, and you're like, man, Fergie seems like he's in his doldrums a little bit. He's just not himself. What book might you hand me?
I think I would hand you the book, Positive Intelligence.
Yeah, it's great, great read.
Yeah.
What's your most commonly used emoji when texting?
Well, I love using the smiley face emoji with the hearts.
Love it. Love it. Nicknames growing up?
I think in my teen years, they called me Odie for a
Odie?
while. Odie, yeah. I didn't like it because it reminded me of the dog from
The Garfield and Odie.
Garfield, so I didn't love that nickname, but
Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly,
Beautiful. Well, to get boardwalk, you have to. You're right there.
right?
Go-to ice cream flavor.
Chocolate.
Beautiful. You're building a sandwich called the Odette Odie. What's on that sandwich? Build it for me.
Ooh, ham, provolone,
Mm.
mustard mayo
Ooh,
on Cuban bread.
okay.
Put in the griddle, the thing that you like
Oh, like the
squish it.
press, the
The
panini press
press,
kind of
that's what
thing?
it's called.
Yeah,
Yep.
love it. Sounds good. If you get in a time machine, can't change a thing for one day, come back to present day, would you go anytime in the future or any part of your past and
Hmm.
relive it?
Well, I generally like to stay present, but if I
We all do.
could, I would like to just relive the moment when my children were born, when they were each
Awesome.
born, just because
Beautiful.
it just went by so fast and there's so
Yeah.
much chaos in that moment going on that I feel
Yeah.
like I don't really take it in as much. So if I could relive any one moment, it would be those 3 moments.
Love that. There's a kegger back in like 89 that was just a blast. I'd go back to that night anytime. Just kidding. So, favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
So I donate my time and money a lot to the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
And
All right.
also Compassion International. I have a little boy that I've been sponsoring for years. Actually, he'll be 18
That's beautiful.
next month. So
Thank
that's
you
another
for doing that. Such a go-giver, huge heart. And that last question, you can expand on this one a little bit, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
80s for
There
sure.
you go, right? Big care, don't care, you
Oh
know.
yeah, I love the 80s. Love me some Bon Jovi.
Right.
Mhm.
I graduated in 90. I just turned 50. And I it's like for the 80s to 90, I mean, you had, like you just said, Bon Jovi, but you had all the big hair, don't care bands. You had the invasion of like U2, Duran, Men at Work, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then,
MTV.
rap, Beastie Boys, Run
Yeah.
DMC. It's like everything came out
Yeah.
as such. I would love to go back and live that decade again. It was so
Yeah.
fun.
It was best music.
Beautiful. So, Odette, how can we find you, my friend?
So the hub is odettecoronel.com, my website.
Spell that
Through
for us.
there, it's ODETTECORONEL.com. OdetteCoronel.com. And through there, you can reach me through all of my social media. Odette Coronel Coaching is my social media.
Love it. I love it. And squad, all those will be in the show notes as well. And can you tell us a little bit about your journal that's out there on Amazon? Create an Awesome Life Journal.
Yes, I have a Create an Awesome Life journal, which I created, and it's really based on my group coaching program that I have. It's part of my group coaching program, and it really is about taking responsibility for your life. And I use the life formula where you create your long-term vision, you identify your strengths, your beliefs, your obstacles, and all of that, and then you form goals, habits, and action steps to create the life that you want.
Love that. And love it. Do you use it actually with your coaching clients as well? Do you work with the book or is that something more one-off?
This is something you kind of do on your own if you really can't afford coaching or it's not something
beautiful
at the time. But I mean, these types of questions are things that I do explore with my clients as well.
That's awesome.
This is something that you kind of do on your own.
Beautiful. That's great to have homework as well and try to do it on your own. That's beautiful. And do me one last solid, Odette. Leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Be grateful. Be grateful for the people in your life. Be grateful for the circumstances in your life. And try to stop through that gratitude and that energy, that grateful energy. You will be more able to find the lesson in anything that happens in life.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. And squad, it's so true. We just had a fantastic, basically a masterclass with my good friend Odette Coronel here, who, she's very passionate about working with people in relationships. She reminds us that relationships in general impact all areas of our life. She wants to be a catalyst for people to have closer relationships, to remind them that they do have allies in their obstacles. You're going to be constantly tested in life. And she reminds us what doesn't break you makes you. A great coach, she also says, creates a safe space for the client. The great coach is present and curious and basically a mirror for the client. Okay. And once you know your relationship with yourself, our responsibility, our role, our own self-worth, our own self-acceptance, will be more worthy of love. Again, work on yourself first. And that's what Odette will really help you dig deep and find that. And if you're working with a coach, ask them, how can I like myself more? She did remind us of that. She wants us to have appreciation for everybody, every living thing, and inform habits and behaviors towards not only your mate, but also everybody that you might walk down the street and just throw a smile at and just have fun. And she said that we must have safety and trust to keep a relationship going strong. That's super important that you communicate with that way. And she wants to remind maybe some younger people, or even if you're kind of going through a transition, don't worry about what people think about you. The purpose in life is just to be happy regardless of the circumstances. She's going to be remembered as a fantastic wife, an awesome mother, a coach who made the world a better place by being authentic and serving others. She's basically she's planting trees that she's never going to sit in the shade of. And that's just fantastic. And lastly, she reminds us to be grateful for all of our circumstances, have solid energy. And no matter what you're going through, there's a lesson there. Dig deep and find it. And that's what my good friend Odette will help you do. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's humble. Yes, she's hungry. You've earned your varsity letter squad, or varsity letter here at our squad. And just thank you so much for coming on. I absolutely love your guts.
Thank you so much. This has been a blast, and I really love our time together.
Yay! I'll chat soon. Bye now.
Bye.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast, proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.